Hello, fellow fish reefers. This is the Pacific Sea Cave and a few others after just 6 months underwater. The Santa Barbara team is seen here making 13 sea caves that went in the Pacific last November. Each one's about 2,400 pounds, being loaded carefully by our deck boss and chief engineer, Frederick Dusadam. There's sea cave being lowered down and then disconnected on the seabed. And then we returned to dive about a month later. And the sea caves are still pretty empty. Not much going on. You can see on the seabed there's no shells, there's no fish, there's no mussels, there's no crabs. They are just sitting there as beacons waiting for the life to find them. Now these are deployed near a turbid area where there's a lot of current. And this is what they look like on the sonar. And here we are 6 months later. A couple of them holding some nice giant kelp stalks and some laminaria. The lobsters have found them. I'm sure at night these are probably crawling with lobster because they can smell the sea urchins and the scallops and the things that the crabs are eating, like this beautiful blonde or yellow crab. It's a cancer crab. And here's another cancer crab in front of a beer bottle. He's having a party. He's sitting there eating a stingray head. And there's a few taking a nap on the ceiling. This is the beginnings of dulse, which is a form of red marine algae. It's very important for a lot of different uses in the medical world. And this is a bat star. And as you can see, nearly 100% of all the surfaces of the sea cave are now encrusted with life. There's some baby halibut, and those little white specks are called dentilium. And they're small seashells with little animals in them that are used historically for the regalia in Native American ceremonies. And the little halibut inside swimming around. More yellow crabs off in the corner. And you can see the mussels are taking hold, and there's a nice egg mass, probably from the very shell that you see in front of you, known as a top shell. As you can see, the sea caves have not sunken into the sand or scoured. They're extremely stable. Here's another nice big crab with barnacles all over it. And if you look very closely, you can see baby scallops forming. A couple of sea urchins have drifted in and started to grow and graze. And this was a learning experience for the Fish Reef Project because we were unaware that blue mussels and black mussels, the European mussels and the native black mussel, the Middleus edulis, would settle and grow in 48 feet of water. But if you have the right oceanic conditions, the ocean will surprise you. As you can see, the mussels love to grow on the arcs and entrances of the sea cave because that's where the water moves the fastest, where the filter feeders can filter out the most plankton. Even on the ceilings, on the roof, is completely encrusted in life. Those black dots are mussels that are forming, and I suspect in 6 months you'll see these things look like tumbleweeds. They'll be absolutely stuffed with life. There's another egg mass off to the left, more mussels forming, and another top shell snail, as you can see on the upper left. There's literally millions of individual marine creatures that have already found this cluster of sea caves. And there will be exponential growth going into the future. This is a moon snail. It's actually quite rare. And there's a Ballina rockfish hanging out near the mussels inside, and another yellow crab off to the right. Here's a beautiful egg cluster, probably to the moon snails, and another crab just making the foot of the sea cave its home. And this is a decorator crab. If it didn't move, you would just think that it was a baby sponge. Here's a cabezon, and they love to swim around and eat the small shellfish that are in there. They're extremely well camouflaged. Cabezon meaning head in Spanish, named for its large head. And here's some other sea caves placed in another location. earlier. As you can see, the kelp absolutely loves to settle and grow, the giant kelp in the laminaria, just waving about in the current. And the kelp is an ideal means to sequester blue carbon directly from the ocean. Actually, the sea cave reefs in general will sequester quite a bit of carbon over time. Here's a lobster crawling between the caves. And as you can see in the tropics, we've done quite well. Now this is a transition to South Carolina, where we placed 3 sea caves just about a year ago. And they're absolutely stuffed with every kind of fish that you can think of that lives in South Carolina. We're excited to see how these reefs prosper over time. And we're out there currently taking new video that we look forward to sharing very soon. Those are spadefish that you can see. And there's a diver from the Department of Natural Resources who placed these with amberjack swimming over his shoulder. And these are giant gray snapper that have found this broken sea cave and made it its home. The Fish Reef Project is always seeking to improve our designs. So we're always testing, we're always pushing the limits and trying to find just the right shape and size and weight and chemistry for the maximum recruitment of marine life. And this is what a fully grown tropical sea cave will look like, and this is what a cold water sea cave reef will look like. And I would like to thank you for helping ocean life thrive.